In this video, I'm going to be playing 41 days in hardcore Minecraft. Why 41 days? Well, you'll have to watch and find out. Day 1 started like any other Minecraft day, you know, just getting some materials, getting a crafting table, getting stuff that you're going to need for the rest of the game, and I was just walking around for a while, and I usually wouldn't make my base in an acacia biome, but there was some really cool like natural water generation, so I put my temporary, for now, base in this cave, and you know, I think it looked pretty good. On day 2, I made a second room in my temporary storage, and I cleared out some more of the cave. There was a really cool tunnel that had come from it being a water cave originally that I was going to use as kind of like a transportation between the different parts of the cave. Day 3, I wanted to do some adventuring, maybe find a new place to put a base, and so I walked around for a while. I didn't find a ton, but I did find a ruined nether portal with some gold that would be kind of useful later, and I found a village which was surprisingly close to my home, even though I don't think I really realized how close it was then. But yeah, those would both be really helpful for the rest of the game. Day 4, I finished raiding the village and I headed back to my cave, which I think by now I had decided was going to be my permanent base. Day 5 started with me making a little cactus farm on the top of my base, and I went back to the village, grabbed some stuff that I was going to need, and then I went to the middle of the ocean and started my wheat or carrot or potato farm, depending on what I got in the future. Day 6, I wanted to make a little path so it was easier to get in my house and I didn't always have to go on the water. I knew that that would make it easier for mobs to get through, but I honestly hadn't really seen much mobs, usually because I was sleeping as fast as possible or staying really safe. And I expanded the wheat farm a little bit, and I started out with a sheep farm as my first animal farm. Little spoiler warning, I don't make many other animal farms, so the sheep farm is there and I'm happy with it. I found this really weird see-through glitch block, and I could see all the caves under my base on day 7. Day 8 was mostly a mining day, but I started out by looking at my base, and I think it looked really good for so early into the challenge. I was really excited to see how it was going to look by the end, and as I said, I spent most of the rest of the day mining. I didn't have a lot exciting on day 8. On day 9, I started work on an upstairs building on top of my base. It was going to be made out of cobblestone, and I'll tell you guys what my plan for it was later, but right now it's just a little thing I was just kind of putting my unused cobblestone on. And I made a map of my base and I put it up there. I was hoping to make it really big. Day 10, I worked on a bunch of different farms, including my sugarcane farm and my wheat farm, which was looking pretty good by now. And I made a little pier, and then I went back to the village and I turned some of the villagers into farmers so I could get some more emeralds easier. If you haven't watched my channel before, you might know that I'm not really good at like the complex stuff in Minecraft, so I don't know a ton about villagers, and I know I totally like wasted all my materials, but I was gonna try and get some emeralds at least, and not on the notable levels or anything, but I got some. Day 11, I ran into a bit of a snag with my base. There was a massive water-filled, waterlogged, or whatever you want to call it, cave, and it blocking my way, so I had to kind of like spiral down and mine weirdly in my cave, and I found this cave that would eventually be like my main cave that I go to all the time, because this thing does not end. It was just cave after cave, but you'll see that further on. Day 12 was kind of a boring day. I spent it mostly working on my farms. I expanded the wheat farm pretty good, but yeah, it was a pretty boring day. On day 13, I worked on the cobblestone house, which was basically just a few walls at this point, and I worked on making my cave house bigger, while also getting some cobblestone and gravel and stuff in the process. Day 14 was just like an average day. I worked on a bunch of stuff, and what I really wanted to do on this day was make the bamboo farm bigger. I wanted it to kind of like consume the entire cliff, because I felt like the cliff looked really cool, but it could look cooler if it was covered in like super tall bamboo. So that's what I did on day 14. On day 15, I finished the cobblestone base. Now, this thing is supposed to be kind of like on the bottom, I would be able to kill and farm mobs and stuff, and then on the top, it would be covered in grass and maybe another base or something. I had a few ideas for it. It was going to be really cool, trust me. On day 16, I really wanted to go with the island vibe, and so I made these like little platforms that stuck out of the water with fences, and I thought these things looked really cool, and so I spent day 17 kind of finishing them, and I think the different wood types really worked and everything looked pretty good, and I spent the rest of the day mining and mining and mining. And I came across an underwater ocean cave on day 18. I mined underwater. This cave was crazy. It was massive. There was tons of materials, no diamonds, sadly, but I used a door method to get air. So I made my door, placed it, mined a ton of materials, but that was basically the entire day. So I was rolling in iron and gold and stuff. On day 19, I added a second floor, and I think I just made it look a lot better in general. And that was basically a slow day. That was all that happened on day 19. Day 20, I still needed some materials, so I went down to the mines, mined some more, and then I spent the rest of the day building an underwater nether portal inside of my main room. I mined it out, and then I got the obsidian in there, made the nether portal, and then I used gravel to kind of empty out the water so there wouldn't be a ton of water in my way and I could actually enter the nether, but it would still be a cool, like, I would have to swim through it. But it was definitely a very stylish way to enter the nether. Day 21, I put on my golden helmet and headed into the nether. I was kind of a baby, so I didn't want to, like, go super hard into the nether, so I just mined some glowstone, and I definitely wouldn't want to die in the nether or anything. On day 22, I was exploring the cave under my base, and I found this insane opening, which just had like so many diamonds. It was just diamond after diamond after diamond, and they were all just in the open. It was crazy. So I just spent that entire day mining and mining and getting a ton of diamonds. On day 23, I got lost underground, so I walked around for a while, but I couldn't find where I had entered, so I just staircased my way up, and I was walking around for a while once I got to above ground, but I was lucky enough to find my base before it got dark, so glad I found it. On day 24, I started work on a massive oil rig that I was going to make as my main base instead of my cave, so I was going to move over to this really big base. I started with some andesite pillars, and then I made the blackstone platform, which was going to be just massive. There was going to be 4 pillars, so I got 2 of them done, and it definitely wasn't quite as big as I was going to make it in the future, but I think it looked good for the first day working on it. On day 25, I once again donned my golden helmet, and I went back into the nether to trade with my trusty pigman, and I didn't really get anything super good, so it was kind of a waste of a day, but I'm glad I got some of the nether items that I didn't want to go into like the nether fortress to go and get. On day 26, there was a lot more to the cave that I hadn't explored yet, so I went and did that. I got some materials, but probably not like exactly what I was hoping for, but you know, I was happy with it. It was just a good mining day. Day 27, I once again went back into the nether to trade with the pigmen. Day 28, I spent making more maps. I went and I filled them out. And then on day 29, I went adventuring. I wanted to go and look out, but I didn't really find a ton. I found the big glitch black stuff again. So I went back to my base by the end of the night, and I placed down the maps that I had made on day 28. And I think it looked really good, and my base just in general, I was really starting to like, and I was hopeful for the future. Day 30, I went back to mining. I guess I still hadn't gotten enough materials, but I found another massive cave, probably bigger than the first one, after pillaring up to this other platform, and it's just insane how big this cave was. But basically another boring mining day. Day 31 was kind of a confusing day because I spent doing a bunch of different things. I farmed, and I killed stuff, and yeah, I did a bunch of different stuff that day. Day 32, I spent trading in the nether once again. I didn't really know exactly what I was looking for, but I knew that it can give me good stuff, and I was just getting tons of gold, so I had to kind of use it. It would have been a lot more time efficient if I had more pigmen, but whatever. And then I went back home and I made some yummy pork chops and bread. Day 33 was like diamond after diamond after diamond. I like the amount of diamonds, I couldn't even use them all. It was insane. So I love the new update. I really like the Caves and Cliffs update because the caves are crazy, and maybe it's just good luck, and I've gone through a few different Caves and Cliffs maps, obviously, but I mean, I feel like this cave was just a top notch. It was crazy. Day 34, I finished the third andesite pillar. Well, not finished, but I worked on the third andesite pillar. Then I went adventuring some more. I found some cool natural generation, like some cool terrain and stuff, but I didn't really find anything super useful. On day 35, I kept adventuring and I found a village. I got some cool stuff. It even had a blacksmith, but nothing crazy useful. I did end up sleeping there and it was pretty cool. Day 36, I finally made it out of the acacia biomes, which I was starting to get really sick of, and it was pretty, but I didn't really find much, so I decided to head back home, and I made it home. Day 37 was another kind of weird day. I spent doing a whole bunch of different stuff, kind of maintenance, just running around and kind of wasting time, but it was still a fun day. Just not much happened. Day 38, I spent the whole day mining stuff to build onto the oil rig because I was going to need like an insane amount of materials. The materials that I did get from mining the entire day was not even that much, but I did make this cool little room while I was mining, so it wasn't for nothing. Day 39, I placed all of the stuff that I had just mined, and then I went adventuring once again, and this ocean is stupidly long, but I did find an underwater ruin nether portal, which was cool, and once I finally found land, which took a long time, there was some really cool cliff generation, but again, it was just more nothing. Day 40, I spent basically the whole day just boating back to my island because I had spent so long just walking out and walking out and walking out, so the entire day was spent going back. Day 41, the final day, was admittedly the most insane day yet, so I decided to go into the nether, and the amount of stuff that could have killed me is crazy. So I started off trading with the pigmen. I got some very fancy boots, and then I fell in lava, and I survived, and then I found a nether fortress, and I fought blazes, and like, I did crazy good, but I still came pretty close to dying a few times, and then I accidentally hit a zombie pigman with like 1,000 zombie pigmen around, and like nothing happened from there, so it's just like, oh my gosh, all these ways I could have died, and here, I'll just play how I died. Yeah, oh my gosh, I fell. I don't know what happened. It didn't even look long enough for me to die. Like, what? There's nothing that I could have done, and it was just so frustrating. I mean, you can see the frustration in my cursor. So I did a last little look of my base, and I'm really sad that I ended this one, but maybe we can do another 100 days where I actually make it to 100, 200, 300, however many days. But if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, this has been Puzzled. Please give this video a like and subscribe, and peace.